2. Welcome to this special episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey, everyone. We have with us today Nathan Bailey. Nathan, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
You like that Ali scream there, right?
Yes.
I call it the Ali scream. I'm Ali Young.
Yes, get it right. And wake them up at the beginning. Just make sure they're here.
That's right. So Nathan has been selling on eBay since 1997 and on Amazon since 2007, and he brings 20 years experience selling online full-time. Nathan has developed numerous successful businesses and has a genuine concern for helping people through coaching. He's also been producing successful results with Jim Cockrum and Skip McGrath's coaching clients for over 15 years.
Damn.
Wow. Very cool. Now, that is one thing to be able to say you do all that, but tonight's topic is something that you have picked up and you have pretty much mastered, and it's photography, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are talking about eBay, and seriously, I know as a buyer, if the photography isn't good, if the images aren't crisp and clear, then I'm not even looking at you. So, awesome. With that said, we're going to talk about two different types. We're going to talk about smartphones, right? Because a lot of people are taking images and pictures with their smartphones, but then we're also going to talk about DSLRs, and I know you know about both. So I think that's going to be a great way to do this because we're going to talk to both sets of people. And I guess, man, let's kick it off with smartphones, man. They've come a long way with the quality and stuff like that. So let's talk a little bit about smartphones.
You know, a lot of the listing that I do will happen on a smartphone. You know, you pick stuff up, and I like to list stuff as soon as I get it. I won't even get that home, and I'll buy something from a yard seller or a estate seller, get a nice piece, and I'll snap it and I'll have it listed before I get home on the eBay app. The eBay app, I met the developers of the eBay app one year at eBay Radio, and these guys are so talented at what they do and just kind of integrating the app with what you could do. I mean, you could literally run and I pretty much do actually. I run mostly my whole business from my smartphone on eBay.
Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Insane.
It's very convenient. And I love the smartphone app because every time you make a sell, it goes cha-ching, you're hanging out with your friends. You're like, yeah. So another one,
Exactly.
Love that. Yeah.
So it's come a long way since 1997, right? When you had cube flash cameras. No, I'm just kidding. That probably not that bad, but it's come a long way since 1997. And now, I mean, with the smartphone quality, man, I mean, seriously, you can do that. You can run your business with a smartphone photography.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things I find is that the smartphones like the iPhone and the Galaxy are the best ones. The Galaxy, I think, is the best one for low light. But the new iPhones, they have this new 3D imaging thing that just does unbelievable editing with your images. And to touch on images and photography in selling online, people need to know that your image, the photography that you take, is the number one thing that a buyer is going to take into consideration when making a buying decision on your product.
That's absolutely correct.
It's the most important thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to see it. We want to see what kind of condition it is. We want to see if you're pointing out any flaws, and we want to be able to see those flaws detailed. I mean, we don't want to, you don't want a fuzzy picture. You got to have a crisp image. I know for me, when I'm looking as a seller, as a buyer, I want to be able to see that image. And if you're going to talk about a flaw in the description, there better be a good picture of it too before I'm going to make that purchase.
Yeah, you got to really snap things or get the photography right. I see a lot of people trying to edit images, and it offsets the color of the actual item. And someone might go, oh, this isn't the color I wanted. Your picture was this, but now when I get it, it's this. So one tip that I recommend to people, whether you're shooting with a smartphone or with a DSLR or whatever, sunlight, real sunlight. Take it outside and shoot it in sunlight. Sunlight is by far the best thing. And I see people, and even myself, I've invested in photo tents. I have a whole photography set up with lighting and crazy backdrops and really intricate photography setup. But really, I mean, take something outside and shoot it in sunlight. Sunlight brings out the best color, whether you're on a smartphone or whatever. But with smartphones, the quality of photography, I know a lot of people that shoot really high-end photography for their eBay listings, and they'll prefer to shoot it on their actual smartphone over like a high-end DSLR, because the quality of image and photo is so good on smartphones now that if you're, in this business and you're on a budget and you're trying to build a business and you're trying to, monetize that business, every red cent counts, right? And
absolutely, yeah.
If you already have the smartphone, right, you don't absolutely need to go out there and buy a really high-end DSLR in certain circumstances, and we'll talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah, very cool. That's right. Because you know what? Ali and I, we like to have these conversations, and we like to eliminate excuses, So if you're out there thinking, well, there's no way I can sell on eBay because I don't have a $2,000 DSLR camera. Well, that excuse has just been eliminated, because the quality of these smartphones, people are using them in everyday business on eBay.
The trouble is with me, I tend to get a spasm in my hand every time I go to push that button to take a picture. So what is your setup then? So here I am. Have you got them on a little tripod or something, and then you put the product in front or something?
You can do that, but the smartphones have really, really high quality, stabilization, right? But I do have actually, here, look at this right here. This is what I use right here for the smartphones. So it has a couple different things that you can use here. It has this thing that you can actually mount with, right? But you take this thing off right here, and you can use this to mount on the smartphone.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of a nifty little gadget.
Yeah.
What do you call that? If anybody's wanting to look for something like that, what would you call that? Is it a tripod, a monopod?
But they make specific tripods specifically for smartphones, but you don't necessarily need them, because the stabilization on a smartphone for photography is excellent, is
awesome.
Really good. That's why a lot of people will think they need to go out and buy a very expensive camera for, I'd say for eBay photography, you don't. No, you can use your smartphone, and there are apps that you can get for your smartphone that will retouch an image or lighten it up or brighten it up or just kind of make it pop.
Crazy, isn't it?
One of the things that we used to do, and eBay doesn't allow this anymore, is we used to do an outline around the photo that was a purple outline, because back in the day, eBay would make you could buy a featured listing with eBay and it was all purple outline. And so, I still see people do it from time to time where they will make an outline around the image. So there are some image editing tools for smartphones that are really intuitive, really easy to use. And, I highly recommend going that route if you're new to this business and you're kind of on a budget, as opposed to buying an expensive camera to do, real high-end photography.
Amazing. So how do you actually physically display the product? So are you putting it on let's say, I don't know, I suppose it depends on the product you're using, but let's say you got a t-shirt. So I always find that when I take a picture of a t-shirt, it always seems to be creased, and it's sort of like, it just doesn't hang right, and it looks weird, and then I spend hours with this dummy trying to make this one t-shirt, and then I'm losing profits because it's taking me too long to take the picture. What's your process with that?
A couple things I want to mention. So I have mannequins, right?
Yep.
I clothing and apparel and shoes are one of my number one sellers on eBay. In fact, I pulled a lot of my clothing and apparel shoes off of Amazon to put back on eBay, because it's so difficult to compete with Amazon on major name brand stuff. You can't win the buy box, but on eBay, I sell it like crazy, although you sell it for a bit less because, on Amazon, people are willing to pay a higher price point. But
sure,
for clothing and apparel and things like that, I have a couple different types of mannequins. I've got these mannequin bodies. There's one man and a woman where it actually hangs. So it's a half mannequin. And then I've got an actual real mannequin. And then there have been times where I've even, for some photography, brought in a model. You know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely.
So
no doubt, man. Go ahead.
So yeah, and then I suppose again when we talked about this with other people is, what would be your average amount of pictures you take per product? So let's say you have that same t-shirt, you're going to zoom in on particular parts. Like, are you going to use all 12 images on the eBay thing?
That's a, you know what? That's a great question, Ollie, because and it's an important one. Let me tell you why. Because there's and this is what I wanted to talk with you guys about. One of the main points is there's different types of photography that you need in your product photography, right? And this is a little bit more important on Amazon than eBay, but eBay is still very, very important, right? There is up close photography, there is the photography on like a white background photography.
Right.
There's what is called lifestyle photography, where maybe you are taking the photo of that product in action. So with a t-shirt, it kind of depends on that product. If it's a one-off, if I'm going to just sell that, if I got maybe 2 or 3 of that t-shirt and it's gone and I'll probably never get that again,
Yep.
right? I'm not going to probably take all 12 photographs. But if it's a t-shirt that I'm going to sell over and over and over and over and over, where I'm actually working with a company, Danny Stock and Dave Hesser have created, called Millionaire Seller, millionaireseller.com. They have a print-on-demand company that is unbelievable, integrates with Shopify, and the images of you put your image on the t-shirt that you want or the different variations, and it renders it out. So with something like that, though, I would also have lifestyle photography, somebody wearing it in action. If it's apparel or a kitchen product, right? I'd be using it in the kitchen. Lifestyle photography, not just, people, the first thing they're going to look at is, okay, is it like the right thing? Is it the right color? Is it the right size? So not only am I going for lifestyle photography, but I'm taking, if it's a product I'm going to sell over and over and over and over and over, right? I'm going to create infographic images. And this is where kind of taking that photography and then getting it into your computer and getting it into Photoshop, or even using designers off of Fiverr to create infographics of the features and benefits, like, this product, and then there's a line to a feature and it says
Right.
double insulated, whatever, as the features and benefits. So, I want the purest photos first that are like exactly what people are going to want to see to make their buying decision, the gallery image first. That's important, right? Then lifestyle photography, then infographic photography, right? So, I'm editing images after I take them to actually enhance the image and get the most out of. The best way to explain it, it's like real estate exposure, location, location, location. It's like those images on eBay are valuable real estate, and you want to take advantage of them and put infographics in those images, but you want to be very careful. eBay is very particular about images, and they have bots that search, images. And if they find something wrong with your image, they're going to pull your image down. They don't want you using manufacturer images. And that's why it's so important, especially on eBay, to take your own photography, but do it well. Attention to detail really, really pays off when it comes to photography, especially on eBay.
That's good information, right? Because seriously, eBay, this is your business, right? You need to take it seriously, and it's important to make sure, like Nathan was saying, that that's the first thing that people are going to look at. They're not, in most cases, if I do a search and I pull up some results, I'm going to look at the images first, and then I'll read your description, right? Because I might go back and find 10 people before I find the one that I want, because it depends on images, and then make sure the product is exactly what I'm looking for, that kind of thing. Images are very, very important.
One thing about that too, you talk about the description. I also will put images down in the description.
Didn't know you could. That's awesome.
eBay's getting a lot, they stopped allowing you to actually have video, to embed video in the description. They don't really want any HTML code, but there are ways around it. It's not something that you absolutely have to do, but once again, if it's one of those listings where you've got a product that you can sell over and over and over and over again, you really want to put a lot of time and effort into building that listing, if it's something that you're going to be selling continually. Definitely. Right? And that will make all the difference in your sell-through ratio on eBay versus your competition.
We have high-end clients we work for who create HTML listings, high-end listings with imagery and everything, and they sell so many products. It is important. But it also we've learned that people who just write small bits of description text, people don't read it because they ask them the questions about what's already in the description. You know, it's like they're not reading it, but they're always looking at the imagery. So what about,
Yep.
okay, I've just been on a massive 3-day thrifting bender and I've just got all these products. I've got hundreds and hundreds of products. Now I've got to start taking pictures. I mean, what do? Do you choose the products that are probably the best value first? Do you come in, do quick ones? Do you do it on a specific day? I mean, what's your method for taking pictures?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I have my photographer and the guys that work for me down at my warehouse now. They do all that stuff. You delegate it if you can.
Definitely.
You know, if you're a CEO of your business, you should be doing only the things that a CEO does. But with that, on that same token, as a CEO, I've been the janitor, the bookkeeper of my business.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Maker. Yeah.
But yeah. So when you're laying everything out to do images, let's say, okay, one of the things that I do is, and I'm going to give this is just dropping gold right here for you guys. Your listeners are going to love this.
Yes.
I go out and I find manufacturer sales reps for brands of shoes like Merrell, Adidas, Solomon. I mean, they all sell me their manufacturer sales rep samples, right? Not their new in box shoes. I buy out all their samples. I get those for about 25% of what they retail for, and I sell them only on eBay, right? So let's say I buy a lot of shoes. We just bought an $8,000 lot of Merrell shoes that are worth 40 grand, right? Retail.
Wow.
Okay. And we're talking, 20 boxes show up, right, at the warehouse. You open up those boxes. They're not in shoe boxes. They're just loose because they're samples. They come in size 7 women's, size 9 men's. It's every style and color of that shoe for that spring or summer line, right? And we're talking 300, 400 pair of shoes, right? So one of the things that I've taught my people to do, right, is, when they set up to do photography, sometimes I'll have them, and they'll set up the lighting and everything. I'll have them actually just go through and take photography of every shoe. And then every shoe has like a tag in it, right? Where we know what it is. It has the label of what it is. So we take a picture of the shoe from the side, right? Pointing right. Okay. We take a picture of the bottom of the shoe. Take a picture of the top of the shoe, the sole, right? And then we take a picture of that tag so you know what the product is you got, and move on. Next. And then what we do is we go back when we go to list them, right? We'll grab a pair of shoes, we'll pull up that image from our image file. And what we generally do is after the photography happens on all those shoes, right? 300-400 pairs of shoes in one sitting, we'll run those shoes through a little bit through what is called Lightroom. And this is a product through Adobe, which Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom together, if you go to adobe.com, $10 a month. It used to be a software that was really expensive, Photoshop, and really difficult to use. But I mean, you could find videos on YouTube, and Lightroom is so easy to use where, we would enhance those images a little bit, run them through Lightroom, and then take each one and list them individually and from that photography file and pull one out of a box, find the images, find the tag of what it is, and then create the listing around all the images. So a lot of times we'll go through and just do a blast of all photography first. If I'm setting up photography and I've got my camera on the tripod and I've got the settings and I've got the aperture just right and I've got the lighting just right, I don't want to take a picture of one, stop, and then go and build a listing and then have to go and reconnoiter everything and take the next picture. I like to get all the photo shoot done because it's fairly easy to identify what you have. But I mean, when you've got 300 to 400 pairs of shoes in one shot, right? And you can go through if you find a way to identify what that actual pair of shoes is, even if you have a sticky note and you write what it is on a sticky note, stick it on the shoe, take a photo like that, then put the shoe in the box, go next and next. The photography moves a lot faster. And not only that, if you're shooting multiple items, you want to set everything up and then shoot everything so that everything has the same aspect ratio. So all your listings look uniform. When people go into your eBay store, they aren't seeing, discombobulated photography. They're seeing some uniformity. And this is called page balance. people love that kind of stuff, you know, when they look at I mean, that's part of the semantics of making a buying decision when it comes to photography. If it looks clean, if it looks right, if it's not, you know, photography that's shot on your couch and there's dog hair over here and whatever. And I mean, some of the eBay photography that I've seen is just so hilarious and crazy. Yourself, you know what? One thing people don't realize too is let's say it's at night and you got to shoot you work all day and then you got to come home at night and shoot photography. Go in your bathroom. You know, your bathroom lights, they usually make those vanity mirrors really bright so you can see yourself in the mirror. Throw down a white towel and shoot your photography right there. I mean, that's works.
A great idea.
We've done a lot of that, you know.
That's awesome. Okay, so now let's turn it to DSLR. And just so you know, I can't even spell DSLR, much less know what it is. So I'm going to let you talk about that, and because you're going to be talking to the people with DSLR cameras or people that are thinking about buying those. I don't know anything about them, but I'll let you, we'll let you talk about that, and we'll go from there.
Yes, the world of digital cameras, right? Yes. And DSLR is a term for a digital camera that not only shoots high-level photography, but it also shoots video, right? So that's what DSLR is. I mean, you can shoot with, gosh, I had my camera here. I could show you, but I have a couple high-end cameras. I've got a Canon 60D, right, which is really nice for photography. I've got a Nikon, and then that's my wife's camera. And then
she lets you use it.
Yeah, I got to stay away from that one. She'll kill me. I probably use that more than she does, but I love photography. And you know, if you're doing more than just shooting photography for eBay, yeah, I would move up into this space. And what it allows you to do is a little bit more advanced photography for certain products. Like one piece of photography would be jewelry, and we got to get real close up on something really super tiny, right? And your camera phone can kind of get it, but it blurs it when you zoom in on it on a camera phone. You know, you can tell that it isn't really high quality. But I have what is called a macro lens on my DSLR camera that it's actually made for close-up photography like that, right? Really super close-up photography. And it's really good for that. So when you're doing photography like that, where you've got to get really close attention to detail on something small, the DSLR is going to be, or the digital camera with the right lens is important. And that's another thing too, is that smartphones they'll get you the overall good shot. But like with the DSLR, I can throw my favorite lens is the 50 millimeter lens, right? It's a little small, short lens. And what that lens does is it picks up the what I'm focusing on specifically, but everything else around that object is kind of blurred, right? So
I love that.
Enhanced photo. It's great for video, great lens for video. So it allows you some other options to get some different types of photography. I mean, I recommend studying photography because it's awesome. I mean, like my favorite thing to do, and I've got my main camera that I shoot with is, and if you got the money to spend and you're into photography and you love it, right? I went to Yellowstone this last summer, and I have a Sony A7 II, or it's an A7S II. And what this is this is a full frame camera. And really what you're looking for in a DSLR camera is a sensor, a good quality. That's what they have, is a sensor in it, right? That takes the picture. It's not like a regular 35 millimeter real film camera where you open up the aperture and light comes in and you capture a photo, right? On film, it's digital. So this camera that I have is mirrorless, but the sensor on it's huge. It's about that big. And I can literally take photos in pitch black dark at night, right? I point it up to the sky and on a stand, and I have a switch, and I literally shoot photography of the stars, of the Milky Way, God. Astrophotography. Look it up, Google it, astrophotography. It's the coolest thing in the world. But this camera allows me to take pictures in pitch black darkness, but when you view, you turn what is called the ISO up on it, you can actually, it looks like the picture's in plain day. It sucks light into it. It's really amazing. So with this camera, I'm able to get super hyper realistic photography of things and really get high end photos, not just for my eBay stuff, but for Amazon as well. Because with Amazon, your photos, if you're private labeling a product, if you're developing a brand and you have your own product, these photos have to be super professional. Even myself, and I consider myself an okay photographer, don't shy away from the idea of actually hiring a professional photographer if you're trying to shoot stuff that you're going to sell over and over and over, and you're building a brand, and they can get it better than you. Some people just don't have an eye for photography. I mean, I love photography, but I mean, my friends and the guys that work for me, down in my warehouse, Enoch, he's a videographer. He's a photography master, and I find I'll go and try to shoot something and it'll turn out, yeah, it'll work. But when he shoots it, he's just got the eye for it. And that's really what you're doing when you're moving up into these higher level cameras, is you have to learn. I mean, you know what? When I got this new camera, it's just the body of the camera is $3,000. Not including the lenses, all those things. But it makes such a massive difference in the quality of your photos. And when you're talking about running a real business, and when photos are the number one thing that people are looking at in making their decision on buying your product, that's something that you really, really need to take seriously. Photography is a lot more important than people realize. And when you're shooting like lifestyle photography, right? When you're shooting photography and then it needs to be taken into Lightroom, and then infographics need to be added to that image to sell the product, you may want to consider, right, having somebody that works with you temporarily, part-time, hire them off of Fiverr. I've seen people, offering these services on Upwork and Fiverr and onlinejobs.ph as well.
I would imagine community colleges too, there might be students there, and you can hire,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the world of social media and Pinterest, right? One good tip for photography with eBay is, if you're taking the time to list something properly, you need to go and start a Pinterest board for that product or all your products and link it back off of Pinterest back to eBay. Because people, I mean, it's like the whole magazine thing. They don't read the articles. They just flip through and look at the pictures, right? It's that concept. And with Pinterest, that's what that is. So, get your products on eBay and get the photography right, but start building out like a spokes in your marketing wheel. I talk a lot about the marketing wheel in my training, where, eBay is just one spoke in the marketing wheel. Amazon is just one spoke in the marketing wheel, but you start getting into things like Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Etsy, and all these different things. And, you can, there's a site called PhotoBucket, right? Or Imager.
Oh yeah.
Where you can put your images up there and then use the code and host your images there, and use that code from these sites to embed into all these different places online, so, the term "a picture tells 1,000 words" could never be truer when you're talking about online sales.
It's just a shame that you're not passionate about this, though, Nathan. I mean, seriously.
Guys, I got to be honest with you. This is my heart. Yes. I've been doing it for so long, I couldn't even think about doing anything else. Once you get that bug of helping somebody, right? I did this course called Buy Local, Sell to the World with Jeffrey Clark. You're going to have him on here too, but me and Jeffrey Clark, we have a course. It's called, you go to buylocalselltotheworld.com, and it's about picking, finding things, flipping them on eBay or wherever else. I mean, everything from vinyl records to Brewery Anya to vintage collectible stuff to diabetic test strips to whatever, right? And whatever you can buy locally and just sell to the world, right? And we talk a little bit about photography in there, but I've had people, and I built the first version of Buy Local, Sell to the World, and just gave it away for free to Jim Cockerman and Skip McGrath to just give out to people. And I have people come to me and say, "Oh man, the first thing I ever watched was your Buy Local, Sell to the World course, and it was awesome. And oh man, that was where it all started for me, and that was where I really started to get traction and get results." And when someone tells you that you had that effect on them, man, that has an effect on me. And
Yep,
and
yep.
that's what really, really motivates me to want to build the kingdom in this community, right?
That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome.
It
That's
is.
cool.
I mean, and we've run out already. You've done your half an hour slot already. This is unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
such great information. Seriously, such great tips, great strategy, absolutely amazing. So Nathan, how can people contact you if people want to get hold of you, learn more stuff about you and your business and stuff?
You know what? You can email me at Nathan@JimCochranCoaching.com or Nathan@SkipMcGrathCoaching.com. Hit me up on Facebook, man. I love to interact with people. I love to collaborate with sellers. What I love to do is I love to partner with them. The best way to connect with me is maybe you seek out some help or advice and we work together. Then I get you from this plateau and you grow and hit the next plateau, and then you come back and teach me a thing or two. And then what I love to do is partner with people that are, friends and clients and build businesses. I mean, this is my heart. I love what I do. I just couldn't imagine doing anything. And, when you genuinely care about people, right? People first, products third or fourth, money fifth or sixth, put people first. Your life, the abundance of quality of life and opportunity will just flow into you. It's unbelievable. I mean, my life story, I literally have started a business where we're doing about $500,000 a month in sales online right now with partners, people that I've coached that are working with me, partnering with me. And, it's like that journey of from where I came from. I started with nothing, not one red cent out of my own pocket, pure leverage, just willing to do what the average person's not willing to do, so I can have what it takes the average person their whole life to achieve. So
that's so awesome, man. That's so awesome, Nathan. Thank you so much for being a part of this summit, man. We really appreciate you, man. And I know I learned a lot about DSLR. I can even spell it now, which is really cool. And we just really appreciate you, man. Thank you for being a part of something really huge for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people that are listening to this, watching this, that are really more educated now than they were before we started. So thank you so much for your time, sir.
Anytime, guys. It's an absolute pleasure to hang out with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. So anything you guys need, you let me know.
Cool, man. Well, we'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy, everyone. See you later.
Soon, guys.
Bye-bye.